welcome to Lessons Learned. I'm Sherry, and this is Finish It Friday. See what I have gotten finished this week and what some of you have gotten finished as well. So if this is your first time here, I always have this Friday show, and it's a quilt show called Finish It Friday, and viewers will send in their quilts to the email address in the description box, following the guidelines that I've set out for submitting photos, and I show them here on this show every Friday, and everybody just loves it. So if this is your first time here, you're kind of just passing through, maybe just go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and then that way you'll always be notified of these episodes. I also have videos every Monday, just a little quilt chat, and then Wednesday is some sort of lesson, tutorial, could be anything. So now I'm going to talk about what I got done this week. I've spent a lot of my time, my sewing time that I did have, I spent it on the finishing of the Riley Blake Design Block Challenge finishing. So as I had mentioned, I got all of my blocks done, and then I needed to go into the finishing. So this was the part that I was working on. It included this block right here, everything around here, putting sashing in, putting borders on, etc., etc. I hung the quilt outside. It was a fairly pretty day today. It was a little hot and humid, but kind of cloudy-ish, but I think you can get a good idea of how it turned out. So I'm going to insert that clip right here. Okay, here is the Riley Blake Design Block Challenge finished. And if you remember, I used a Riley Blake print line from Ashley Colette called Porch Swing. And even though I did not use the confetti solids that they're recommending, or the batiks that they have that they recommend in Riley Blake fabrics, I think I pretty much captured what the intent was of the design. So I'm happy with this. I'm really happy with this. It is a square quilt. It probably would be better used on a large table as a table topper or as a wall hanging. But you could certainly throw it over a chair just for decoration. So we'll take a little bit closer look at that porch swing fabric. And you've seen me make all these blocks over the past few weeks. So the finishing consisted of this block in the center and the border around it, and then the patchwork around that, which is also from the porch swing line. It just happened to be a piece that I chose to go with it. I had a couple 3 yards of it, and so that worked out just perfect for this project. So always look in your stash to see what you have. And then I used my antique white Riley Blake confetti solids for the backgrounds, mainly of my blocks, and for the sashing between the blocks. And then that was finished out with some borders out of another Riley Blake confetti solid called Songbird. So all of this stuff came from my stash. Worked out pretty good. I'm happy with it. Now to get it quilted. Okay, and so I did have a little time left over to do the Blockheads, Moda Blockheads 6, which is another sew along that the fabric company Moda has every year. And this is my first year participating. This is their 6th year. I think that's right, since it's Blockhead 6, right? But it's my first. So I decided I would jump on that bandwagon. Last week I showed you my regatta blocks. And I don't know if I told you, but these were by Vanessa Christensen of V & Company. She is the designer of this block. And each block each week really is 2 blocks. So you make the same pattern, but you just color them a little different. And that's left up to, to you as to what you want to do. You can use scraps, you can use stash, you can buy the suggested fabrics, whatever. But this week, the block is called Crossroads by Lynn Hegmeyer of Kansas Troubles Quilters. So all Moda designers are designing these blocks. So this is her block that she designed. And then my other one, I used the same fabric except for some of the middle section. Well, this one goes this way really. Got threads everywhere. This one goes this way. So you can see what I changed out. I went ahead and kept the same thing for the majority of the block, but I just switched out that pink and kind of purpley color there going across the middle. So I'm using up my leftovers from Tilda Hibernation, and that's a line from a year or so ago, and I made a project out of it, and I had a bunch left over, so I'm going to go ahead and use all that up, and then I'm using something else from my stash for the background, just something that kind of goes with this type of fabric. So there's 4 blocks done. There's like if it's block 1, it's block 1A and 1B. If it's block 2, it's block 2A and 2B. So that's kind of how it works. I didn't know that when I started it. I thought it was just going to be 1 block per week, and they come out on, is it Tuesday that they come out, or Wednesday? I think it's Wednesday. June the 4th. That was yesterday. Yeah, it came out, it comes out on Wednesdays. So I think it says something like 8 a.m. Central or something like that, and you know, you'll get the email on it and you can start working on it then. You've got a week to get those done, and then another one will come out, and there will be a bunch of them. So I think that's it. I think that's what I worked on. I didn't do any long arming. Yeah, I think that's it. So let me go ahead and get into what some of you have sent in this week. We have a wonderful show, and we have a triple header with the twizzle pattern. So you're going to enjoy that, and then I'll see you right back here after that. The first one we have today is from Rhonda from Ontario, Canada. And she says here that she had she had been gifted a small fat quarter bundle from her daughter, but she didn't know what to use it for. And then when I started on the twizzle pattern that I had recently, she found some other pieces in her stash along with some Liberty fabric, and it all came together. So she did the twizzle, and it's so interesting how everybody's twizzle looks different. And I must tell you, there are 3 different twizzles today that we're going to see. So this is really cool. She says she finished it up with an all-over feather meander, and she couldn't love it more. I can see why, Rhonda. Yours turned out really, really pretty. I love your little print borders that you used instead of the Hasbro triangle border or the pinwheel border. It looks equally great and less work. So I love your twizzle. Let's see what else we have today in the twizzle category. But first we have one from Cindy, and this is a So Yeah finish. She agreed to do their community project, and this is the type of quilt that they're making for that. And she says she really loves the overall look with the bright solids and the addition of the applique. And she says this was the 3-yard curved quilt pattern from Fabric Cafe called Hourglass, and said the blocks are much easier than they look. And she used some minky and had some little bit of challenges with the minky on the back and with the applique of the tiger there, but she learned something new and she got herself out of her comfort zone. So good for you, Cindy. The next one we have is from Aditi, and she says that she's very excited to get this done. has had some challenges lately, but took her 5 months to get it done, but she finally got it done. This is a gift for her daughter. It's got a snowman themed fabric on it, done up in red and white, and a lovely red backing with snowflakes on it. And yeah, this is a 60 by 60 pattern called Overnight Sensation, and it's also from the Donna Robertson Fabric Cafe book. Very nice. I'm glad you got it done. I'm glad you're feeling a little bit better to be able to do some sewing, albeit some slow sewing. Better than none at all. Tammy has this is a UFO. She says the top was finished the end of 2023, and then her machine was in the shop for over a year. Oh my goodness, I don't know how I could deal with that. She said, got a new to me long arm and have been getting comfy with it. Finally got this one on the long arm and completed. The pattern is Carolina Chain by Bonnie Hunter, and she's dubbing it Cajun Chain since it's going to a sweet woman from Louisiana whose favorite color is red and proudly professes her Cajun roots. Well, she's going to love this if she doesn't have it already. This is a beautiful quilt, very tedious, sort of a smaller pieced pattern, but that's a Bonnie Hunter for you, isn't it? Thank you, Tammy. This looks great. Lorena from Northern Illinois, she says, I finished this black, white, and red quilt for my very good friend. I started to use a free pattern, but when I saw all the blocks were going to be made on the bias, I figured out a different way and did the math along the way for the size I wanted. It finished at 70 by 55. She says, I love that you never stop learning with quilting. Always a new challenge ahead. Yes, you are correct about that. Your quilt turned out great, and I'm glad you found an easier workaround for those biased edges. Donna sent us a picture of her landscape quilt that she did for a row by row shop hop back in 2017. She doesn't know exactly which shop it came from, but she made much the same way. She made it much the same way I did my landscape quilt, by layering the fabric. I started with the squares for the grass that was topped with hills and a little blue pond over a plain blue sky with clouds. The top layer was a print with hot air balloons in the sky. To finish it, I appliqued a pieced hot air balloon all over all of it. It makes a very colorful summer wall hanging. Very nice. I love your creativity with this. And you can't tell that those balloons and the sky, there's a little separation there between the two fabrics, but it blends so perfectly. And the pieced hot air balloon is awesome as well. I love this. I love anything where you use your own creativity to make it your own. Okay, here's another twizzle. This is from Jenny. And she said that she finally got this done. She enjoyed making it, except for the pinwheel border. I think we all kind of lamented the fact that we had to make that. I was so worried that they wouldn't fit, but it worked out, and they really add a nice touch to the quilt. I used some fabrics from my stash that blended in with fat quarters called Emma by Michael Moon of Fabric Editions. My background is sky blue Kona cotton, and the backing is a 108 mosaic teal by Free Spirit. That she also used some of that in the top of her quilts too. The pantograph is Knit 1 Purl 2. And she says if anyone else is making this in the future, she has a tip that may help you. She says, as Twizzle was being quilted, I noticed that one of my sky blue triangles had a yellow tint, and I realized that it was scorched. I was able to get the scorch out when I took it off the long arm. Here's how. All right, take note, people, if you need to get starch out of your, a scorch mark out of your quilt. She says, spray hydrogen peroxide onto the scorched area. Cover with an old same color towel and hold down iron for a few seconds. So your iron would be on the towel. And then repeat if necessary. She says, I got this tip from Gina Tell's YouTube channel where she demonstrated it, and just thought she'd pass it along because these things happen. So thank you for that. I appreciate any new tips we can get to help each other out. And so that's why I said, let's write this one down, because when we need it, we won't remember. She also says she enjoys Mark's videos and hope we're having a great week along with Blue. We are. Thank you very much, Jenny. Okay, Deborah has 3 quilts. Let's see. This first one here, where her kitty is photobombing. she said, this is Flowers for Nana Girl. Jelly Roll pattern by Kim Brackett. I bought a Moda scrap bag from Green Fairy Quilts, and it had 24 Jelly Roll strips from Fig Tree, which was enough to make this quilt. I bought the border from Etsy. I think the pantograph is filled of flowers. My cat had to photobomb me. Yes, we see that, Deborah. I don't think that's filled of flowers, but it's a beautiful pantograph. Beautiful pantograph. It looks wonderful on this quilt. I love the block pattern. That's pretty cool. Flower Girls. Flowers for Nana Girl. Okay. Here's her next one. It's called Snail. This is Snail Takes a Detour. The Jelly Roll pattern also by Kim Brackett. The Jelly Roll was for the love of nature. The pantograph is Beto Junction. It has butterflies, as does the fabric. That's pretty. Lots of deep, rich colors in there. For the love of nature, you said that was. That turned out really good. And her other one is a blue and white quilt for her new great nephew. Congratulations. And it's a 3-yard quilt from Quilts for Kids. Very cute. It's got nautical themed fabric on there in the blues and whites. Perfect for a boy. Great job, Deborah. You've been busy. Helen, she has a new finish here, and she said she hand-pieced this over 5 years. The pattern is called Crimson Cross by Audrey and Diane from the Cloth Parcel. This is beautiful. I love all the reds. And even though the pattern has the name Crimson in it, you could certainly do this up in blues, greens, any other color. But good for you getting that done. Nice quilting on there. And, you know, a 5-year project reaps great rewards, doesn't it? That's beautiful. The next one is from Kathy, and this is her finished Peaceful Baskets. Let's see what she says. She says, I was able to finish 3 things this week. The first was the 2024 Peaceful Baskets Block of the Month from Sew Sampler. It still needs quilted, but I set it aside for now until I decide how I want to quilt it. Yeah, sometimes you just need some time to think about it. She says, for some reason, I found the finishing of this quilt exhausting. Yes, I did too. I am pleased with how it came out, but I'm glad it's done for now. And then she also completed the block of the month from Sherry of A Quilting Life using fabric from Sherry and Chelsea using their Laguna Sunrise line. And then her final finish was the Blockheads 6 Block 1 using Peachy Keen by Corey Yoder. Lovely block. Oh, that fabric of Corey's for that is really pretty. Really pretty. She says she wants to thank us for all the inspiration we give and enjoys Mark's channel and Blue. And he is a cockapoo. She asked what breed he was. He is a cockapoo, a mix between a Cocker Spaniel and a Poodle. Okay, here's one more twizzle. 3 twizzles this week. I love it. She says this is Gerald. She says, I finally finished my twizzle. This is my 31st quilt this year. Thanks for all you do. Well, thanks for all you do. 31 quilts. I don't think I've made 31 quilts in a year yet. Maybe 20. I don't know. But this is beautiful too. Now, she did opt for the pinwheel border. And I just love it. I just love it. They're all the same but different, aren't they? I'd love to just get all of yours and mine and others that I know that have made this pattern and just put them all side by side and take a look at the subtle differences between them. But this is beautiful. You did great. All right, we have one more by Lori. She says, hi, Sherry. This past weekend, I finished a table runner that I'm giving to a friend. This was my first time working with batiks, and it's made with just 1 charm pack. Now on to the next project. This is Lori from Knoxville. Beautiful. Love the greens. And yes, 1 little charm pack can make a beautiful quilt. I love the batiks for home deck, don't you? Turned out great. Good job. All right, isn't that awesome? I loved today's show. It was so neat. So neat. I think what I'm going to work on this weekend, I do have my long arm meeting Saturday afternoon. So that'll take up some of my normal sewing time that I use, but that's okay. That's fun to go to. And then I think probably what I need to get into is a long arm project. I've got a couple of things pending that I would like to get done on the long arm, and yeah, maybe at least one I can get done this weekend, hopefully. I hope to get some piecing done too. I haven't done any 16 patches for a while. I'm kind of missing that, and you know, the scraps are piling up, so I need to keep those moving and get another scrappy project going. So the 16 patch is one way I can do that, and then also I could stand to process some of those scraps and get them in their places and ready for some scrap projects. So we need a new scrap project. I need to think of something that I can teach you how to do with scraps. Alright, that's what's on my mind. That's what's happening this weekend. I hope you have a great weekend. I hope the weather's nice where you are. Maybe get outside and sit or do a little picking around in your yard if you have one, and just enjoy yourself. That's the main thing, right? We want to enjoy everything that we're involved in. Alright, I'll see you back here on Monday Quilt Chat. It'll be here before you know it, and I'll be jabbering about all the quilty things. All right, we'll see you soon. Bye.